Is Janet from another planet? 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 Is Janet from another planet?
Rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
If you guys have some ideas for the annual stream, or if you have some ideas that you want us to watch, be more than happy to review those and look at those and give our thoughts of those movies as we discover possibly a new classic. Hey, Hungar the Strawberryan. Janet, how are you feeling? And now she's on mute. I can't hear
Darn
you.
it. Sorry. I had it on mute.
It's okay.
I didn't want my, my phone to make the noise it always makes. I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Just give me 1 minute. Trying to figure out what happened. Never had this happen before. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Impact that it's had ever since then. And I think it's time we start to discuss the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm ready.
When this came out, I'm going to probably assume that you might have been aware of it, but you probably didn't go see it in theaters, did you?
No, I wasn't even really aware of it until after I saw Xanadu. I think I told you that before. And I thought the guy was cute. And then someone told me that he was in another movie that was really good, really, really cool. So we
And you're
rented
talking
it.
about Michael Beck, who plays Swan in this movie.
Yes. Well, the other guy, what was his name?
James
Dexter's dad.
You're talking about James Remar, who played
Yeah,
Ajax?
James Remar. He was pretty good looking in this movie too. He was a butthead, but he was very nice, very attractive, I thought.
Hello, Multi-Gun Man. How are you doing tonight, sir? One of our northern affiliates. It's one of my favorites. I have it on Blu-ray. Old 70s and 80s horror B flips. Like Caesar Jr. Ooh, Pieces is good. Yeah, that's my thing too. I was 4 when this movie came out, so me in a very strict Baptist church household, we didn't acknowledge this movie, and it wasn't on my radar until 1986 or 88. And there was a game that came out called Renegade. It was it was an arcade game, and it was a game where you start off at the subway and these punks around you and you got to fight for your life, and then you progress through the stages. And the designer took a lot of cues from this movie, and in the magazine review of it for Commodore Magazine, they mentioned that, and I'm like, what's the Warriors? And so I went to the library, and the librarian and my mom were really good friends, so I didn't get a chance to see it through the library. I had to go find it at Stars and Stripes Video, which is basically a cheaper version of Family Video. And I rented it out with a friend of mine's help because I was 13 when I got a chance to see it, and we loved it. And that was how I discovered this film. And it's been one of those movies that's been kind of near and dear to me ever since then. I wish I could say, I discovered it when it came out. No, I was 4.
Well, I didn't even realize there was a book
to
read. So it was years and years after I saw both this movie and the other one that he was in, before I even found out there was a book. So I just, I think this, it's just weird. You don't hang in a certain group of people. You don't find out about certain things. What was interesting to me was the whole gang aspect of it, because I lived in certain places that had gang activity, but I lived on a military base. So I really didn't get to ever see anything like that except on TV or what people would tell me, or something you'd see on television. So when I got to see this movie and I got to see all the intro part of it, which was so awesome to me, that's one of my things that I really want to do before I die on my bucket list, is to ride in a subway, even though everybody says, why, you're going to get killed. But I just think it's so cool. It's iconic. I mean, it's something that to me, honestly, very few people ever get to do in their lifetime, just to be able to sit on one and ride it, a certain distance or whatever. I think it would be really awesome and it's exciting to see the different people that would be getting on it and things. It's probably really nasty, but in my imagination, it seems like it'd still be really um, exciting to try it out, to mark it off my bucket list. And after seeing this movie, it really made me even think about it even more, taking a trip so I can ride the subway, even though I swore I'd never go to New York City.
You probably could have an experience like it, and I'll tell you the secret. You need to grab some like high grade edibles, and
Okay.
then in about 45 minutes, you're going to be like, these edibles suck. And then you're going to go grab the shower rod in your bathroom and look
Mhm.
at your phone like, where is this subway taking me?
They do have some virtual reality type things that you can ride too in some places, but I haven't been able to try that yet. But I just remember the costumes were really cool on some of the gang members.
I
And
really like the
at
pleather
first
vests.
I was shocked. Sorry.
Good.
First I was shocked that there were so few people in each of these gangs that were, there and riding the subway and stuff to get to the big meeting. And then I remembered when the Cyrus guy was saying that 9 delegates from every gang were supposed to be there to represent their gang. So, it was like their I can't remember their leaders, the top lieutenant, and had different categories for each person, right?
You have the war chief and then the warlord, and then you have, the heavy, and you have the heavy soldiers, and then you're going to have like a guy like Rembrandt, who he's not a real heavy soldier. In the book, the character who's supposed to play him in the book is actually a decent fighter, but I think his name is Dewey, but he's not really somebody that that translated too well, because the Rembrandt character couldn't fight in real life.
Mhm.
Michelangelo Sanchez is his name. Rest in peace, little guy. He was 26 or 29 when he passed of an
Oh, the
AIDS
the
related.
youngest group or the
Yeah,
member of the gang? Yeah, the article that you sent me, that was I think it said he's 28 when he died,
he
but,
was super young, and he caught this whenever it started getting really big in the 80s. And I mean, when you're in, the scene, he was part of the lifestyle, and he was doing everything he could to get him in front of a camera. He was on 321 Contact. Actually,
well, was it because he was gay, or was it because he used drugs?
I think it's because he just was passed around and had a lot of partners. I don't think he was gay. He might have
Yeah.
been.
I didn't see anything in the article that said anything like that, because,
No.
I did know a few people, through my family that had relatives, distant cousins and stuff that died from AIDS. One of them died because he had a blood transfusion,
Yeah.
and got it that way. So when people say, "Oh, they died from AIDS," most people say, "Oh, they were gay." I'm like, "No, this person
No.
wasn't gay." So
And even if he
I just
was,
hate
it
it when
doesn't
people do
matter.
that.
To me, it doesn't really matter, if they were a certain way or not. If they enjoyed watching certain tags on the Pornhub, or if they enjoyed just missionary sex with their spouse, the end result is they got a virus that their body couldn't handle,
Mhm.
and he's no longer with us. And it seems like he was an up and coming actor. There was a kids show on PBS in the early 80s. Maybe it's still on. Maybe they show reruns of it still. Sarah Jessica Parker made her bones on it at first.
Mhm.
The young girl that's got the pigtails, and she's in the store with the rogues, and Luther shouts at her when she asks for the money. She played Ginny on 321 Contact. Hey, Crafting Gamer, how you doing, sir? Courtney, I understand you probably left, but much love to you, hun. And I hope your dinner's good. Um, but there, between that, Michelangelo played on the Bloodhound Gang segment which was a group of young teenagers solving a crime, which he wasn't a teen at the time. But when you're a young kid on a PBS show, they can just say, here's a kid. And they show for like a 30-year-old guy or 25-year-old kid in front of the camera, and he pretends to be a child, and that's what it was. And he had like 3 episodes on there, and then he did some other stuff. He's on Hill Street Blues. Remember that, guys? Dun 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 dun. dun. Okay, we'll talk about the way the Warrior starts off. And there's a deleted scene out there on the YouTubes where Cochise, I believe that's the warlord's name, that gets killed at the meeting after the shot rings out. He's talking to his girlfriend, who is played by Sidney Poitier's daughter. And he gives her all the information about the meetup that you get in the first segue as everybody's riding the subway to the meet.
Yeah.
But it's a very static scene. It's just him talking to her. She's sitting down on a bench, nodding her head politely like the dutiful girlfriend that she is. And he's telling her, you know, I'm really jazzed about this meeting. She says, I really don't want you to go. I got a bad feeling. And that's pretty much the existence that she had on this. But they released that, and that was on a DVD that I got a chance to watch back in 2009. Yeah, time I saw it. And they had a bunch of extras because it was like an anniversary edition. It was really good. And so if you look for things on the internet, like I sent Janet a video last night of Where Are They Now, and it goes through the entire cast of this movie. You can see where everybody ended up and how their lives have changed. It goes into, you know, the bit players, like this guy from the Punks. He's now this, and this guy. Can
you put that in the chat?
Yeah.
For everybody, in case they are would like to, you know, save it for later, because they can bookmark it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, bookmark it if you're interested in finding out. Because I was so surprised when I realized when I looked up the different actors that the actor that played Swan was older than the actor that played his rival in their own gang, Reamer, and. I was just surprised how much older he was, because he was born in like 1949 or something. And what's the other guy's name? He was born in like, in like 1956 or something. I can't remember. It's just hard for me to remember it exactly, but there was that many years difference, because when they were standing side by side during the movie, you would never have thought there was that much of an age difference between the two of them. No. So I was just surprised about that one thing. And it's so depressing when you get to watch these movies, these older movies, and you recognize these people, you know, in the movie, and you're like, wow, you know, I really love this movie, and it brings back all these memories. And then you go and you research it, and you see how much older they are now, and you're like, golly, what happened? And it's called time. So it was interesting. That was interesting to be able to look up some of these people. And I mean, I wonder if the subways really look that bad. You know what I mean?
They did back when I visited in '89, but ever since then, I think they've been cleaned up quite a bit. Because if they still look like ass, you would probably see people making videos for the Transit Authority in New York City.
Well, I have seen a few videos showing, you know, trash and needles and feces, you know, all kinds of nasty stuff. But I was talking about the graffiti mostly. But I think they do now. They have crews that go in and, you know, scrub the.
They were supposed to have that back then too, but we don't know where that money went.
Went in someone's pocket, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's
probably up someone's nose.
Sure.
You know, a little toot here and there. But I loved the opening scene. I thought it was a very unique way, and I don't know if it was from the book or not, but to be able to watch them as they travel on the map that you see hanging on the wall in the subway, and then some of the characters go and they follow it with their finger, and then you see like two of the warriors talking to two different members and talking about what they think of Cyrus and about what's going to happen when they go there and things like that. It opens it all up so you understand why they're going on this trip in the first place, to get that far away from Coney Island in the first place. So I thought that was pretty very, very I don't know, I thought it was a very good sequence in the beginning, because even though they're not really doing anything, it's not boring. You know what I mean? It's very informing, and there's constant movement going on because you got interaction between the gang members and also the subway moving, and then you following the line on the map, that's taking you to wherever their journey's taking them. And I just thought that opening scene was just really cool, very informative too.
Yes, Travis, I'm referring to the Eagles. If the Philadelphia loved the Eagles and didn't mind being law-abiding, I would have wanted the Eagles to win. But I heard something that the Philadelphians were going to riot no matter what. So I'm like, fuck you, Philadelphia. And I'm happy that KC got it because I love Kansas City barbecue. It's more honey-based barbecue sauce. I know, I'm prejudiced. Yeah, that's true. I love the way the movie starts off. I think Janet's on the just dot here. She's definitely hitting the points that I had. The first scene introduces you to all the characters, all 9 of them. Mm-hmm. Even though some guys don't have but a handful of lines throughout the entire movie. Like the scout who is Windows in The Thing. Mm-hmm. He gets thrown off a subway platform. And I think he said 5 things.
But he's in it a lot. All of them, you see their faces quite a bit for their screen time is a lot on them during the time that they're in any scene. It's not just like all hogged by 2 main characters. You know what I mean? There's lots of face time for all the gang members for you to have a sense of each of them's personality and how they get along and how they think. So the decisions that they're making throughout the film, it kind of follows along with their character arcs. And I thought that was a really, really good portrayal of it, considering, I mean, there's hundreds of people in this movie.
Yes.
So, and it still makes you want to root for them.
And for those of you out there that are collectors, I'm going to recommend go get a PlayStation 2 or a rebuilt PlayStation 2 and find on the web a copy of the Warriors game. Because if you love this movie, you get to basically play through all the parts in between. And you get to see more interactions. You do have more influence from the book on the play of the game. And it takes about 15 to 20 hours if you do 100% completion. Mm-hmm. It is a great game made by Rockstar, the guys that made Grand Theft Auto. And that's probably my... if there's ever a problem with me, it's because I probably like Grand Theft Auto 3. I really like those games. I'm sorry. But that's me. I really enjoyed a lot of the things about that game back in 2008. And it just kind of enriched the experience. I know that sounds really weird. I'm telling you that a video game enriched my experience with a book and a movie. It did. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the few times you'll see that, because usually you'll it's a very vapid thing. I'm just walking around polygons. I'm just exploring the environment, trying to find all the secrets. No, in the Warriors, there's actually a lot of good environmental storytelling. They do a really good job of showing you the world that they live in, and the movie did a very good job of painting New York in just such wonderful neons and dark shades and shadows. Once everybody gets there to the big meetup and they get to meet Cleon, Cleon pretty much gets them all together, and they're all hanging out, listening to Roger Hill. Why am I blanking on Roger Hill? Roger Hill was the guy they went to go see.
Mhm.
Damn it. Roger Hill played Cyrus.
Oh, I thought you were talking about someone else.
Everybody is, like anybody who's had contact with Cyrus or who has heard of Cyrus, all they've got is just reverence for him.
Mm-hmm. He's like he's kind of like a Martin Luther King character.
He really is,
but not really, because these are all, basically criminals.
Yeah.
And he's bringing them all together to like start their own corporation, basically, so that they can outnumber the police officers, 10 to 1, and that if they just work together and stop fighting amongst each other, that they could all be rich, and control everything. And it goes on, no trucks in and out, no one can buy anything or do anything, park here, park there, shop without their approval. Basically, is basically what he was wanting the people to do. So the whole premise of why the one guy shot him in the first place, it really, to me, never made any sense. I think they should have put something in there in the intro where he's talking to his friends about how if this happens, then we don't really have any turf ourselves, and so we won't be a part of it. Something like that. So if we stop him, they won't, work together, and we'll be able to still be able to do things, steal, whatever else, without, reprimand or whatever type thing, is what I was hoping would be something more like that in it, but they didn't do it.
No, and they don't really go down that path in the book either. The book, like, that is just kind of like the event that starts the entire shebang down the path in the book is basically the warlord, trying to get everybody in New York to just ally up, have a truce. We can have all of this if you all will work together, and if you will engender and empower your people to work together. And he really, had a I hate to say it's a good idea, but the mafia has been trying to do this for years, and it never works out in the end.
Yeah, what's greed? People are greedy. They want what they want, and they don't want to share it. And then you also have, in every group of people, in any organization, churches, school, lawyers' offices, whatever, you always have somebody else that's jealous of someone else, and they want what they have. So they'll lie or steal or do whatever to take them down or knock them down a few pegs. And, you're going to have that in everything. It's sad, but that's reality. I mean, it's always going to be greed and envy. Those are, I think, two of the highest things on the totem pole to cause the turmoil that we have within the ranks of any kind of business where you have other people besides yourself.
I really I didn't have a problem with any part of the first act of this movie. It sets up everything. You get the main characters, and you get the plot, and you get the event which starts off the action. And from that moment, it's a kinetic display of how to guerrilla film in a big city, which you really can't do anymore that kind of pisses me off. But
Well, honestly, the way they filmed it, supposedly in Central Park, I guess, and the way they had the bridge, the arc of the bridge, and they had the people standing, on top of the bridge, and then they had them around, and then in the front, and they had them like at different levels of heights, right? So they were able to make it look like there were way more people there than what you would really would have been. And at nighttime, instead of doing it during the daytime, you're able to hide the fact that there's gaps. There's lots of gaps here and there between the people. So they were able to make it look like there was hundreds and hundreds of people there, even though there really wasn't. Because if you could stop motion it, I'm sure you could count. There might have been maybe 75 people there.
They look like 500, but there's probably about 75 to 90.
So like in the movie Grudge Match, when they were doing the final scene, it's supposed to be a whole stadium full of people. But what they did was they take 30 people and they move them from one section to another and mix and match them, and give them signs. And like they would go in, sit down, and then they would take one row at a time, every other row, and move them to the next section. And then put the other people like that. That way the colors of their shirts, their hair colors, who they're sitting by, and everything is all mixed. And then they did the whole thing that way and moved each section and filmed it. And then they edited it together to make it look like a whole stadium full of people. And then there was people in the first 3 or 4 rows in some areas, depending on the angles from the shoots they were doing, like in the inside the boxing ring. So anything that was going to be, them, the actor, and then out at a little bit of an angle, they made sure people were sitting there. So when they edited it together, it looked like, a packed stadium of people. And that's the same thing they would do, because you got to remember, we're only seeing what the director's seeing through the camera lens, even though it looks like we're seeing everything. We're really not. We're only seeing what he wants you to see.
That's true. It really is true. And it's kind of weird because Thomas Waits is in this movie as Fox. He was Windows in The Thing.
I loved it. I thought he did good in this movie.
I thought he did great, but he's not listed. He's uncredited in this movie. And I thought, wait, what? Are you kidding me? So it's really weird.
Well, it really doesn't matter because every single person in the movie got paid.
Yeah.
I can guarantee that. But they might, in their contract, they'll say they'll go without credit for more money. Sometimes they get more money for not having credit. Or they get something else, some other special job, upcoming part in another movie, things like that. They make all kinds of deals, backroom deals to do that.
And this was before The Thing, so he probably had something set up to where he would be in a few more studio pictures. I forget who published this movie.
Very possible. Or even commercials.
Yeah, he probably got in commercials too. He's got a good, like, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page and they just have a snapshot of his work. He's been doing things since 1969. No, 1976 was his first big TV role. But he's been in acting school since the 60s. He's been training, and he was offered, when Waits was 21 years old, he was offered 2 movies simultaneously, Snowbound by Robert Young and Pity the Poor Soldier, directed by Bill Jersey. Despite the fact he was offered twice the money for Snowbound, he chose Pity the Poor Soldier because it was a celebration of the centennial of the American Revolutionary War. Interesting. And he's done a lot of stuff. He did stuff with John Hurd in 1978 on the Yard, and then he had some critical notices. Walter Hill had him audition for Fox, but during the filming of this movie, he was fired from the film. And when the studio asked him where he wanted the billing, he told them remove his name completely. A decision he regrets. And he's since reconciled with Walter Hill. 3 weeks after being fired from the Warriors, Tom auditioned with Al Pacino and was cast as Jeff McCullough in the Norman Jewison film And Justice for All, which is an amazing film. Good legal comedy drama for those of you that love 1979 films. And him and Al Pacino are still good friends today. He's also in a musical in 1982 on Broadway with Trafford Tansey, where he sings with Deborah Harry of Blondie. So Fox has been passed around like a cigarette at a concert. I'm just going to say that he's done his job.
Well, he's got a good agent.
Yeah, he does. He has a fantastic agent. Janet should do the Femme Crow look next. Ooh.
Thank you.
No problem. That's for all the men in the audience there. Okay. So, I mean, he's the first casualty in the movie, aside from Cleon, who gets the hell beat out of him by everybody's elbow at the meetup. And
yeah, I thought that was a really sad scene, especially since we know he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So he's the first person to die for no reason, simply for the fact that somebody pointed their finger and said that it was the Warriors.
Yes. David Patrick Kelly plays Luther, and he's one of my favorite actors that's still doing stuff today. He was in The Crow.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Hammett, Wild at Heart, Dreamscape, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Last Man Standing, Songcatcher, K-Pax, Flags for Father.
He was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and he was in the John Wick series,
in
part 1 and part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, David Patrick Kelly is a hell of an actor. His mom told him when he was after he showed her the movie after they did the Broadway opening, I guess. She says, "David, you almost look tough." Because I guess in real life he's just a patsy. He's a yardbird. But his mom is digging on him like, "You almost look tough in this movie."
I just remember after I watched it what a skank I thought he was. And there's a couple scenes that were really good. I don't know. I thought were very good emotionally in the movie too.
Our friend Lady is going to bow out for the night.
When everybody starts running because of the shooting, and I was really, really impressed with the fact that they used so much. They had lots of violence in this, but very little gunplay. Considering how much I know you love gunplay in movies, because you seem to always pick something with a lot of gunfire and stuff going on, and this one had very little of it. Still, one of my favorite scenes in this whole thing is the one gang that I just thought was the coolest gang in it when I saw it. As you can tell by what I'm dressed up as tonight, is because of the Furies. I thought the Furies were the coolest looking. I would have hung out with them.
I think most
they were really awesome.
Most of our crew probably would have hung out with the Lizzies. But
well, I might have been a Lizzie, but I would have hung out with the Furies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that scene when the Furies show up and Ajax is like, I'm gonna shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle.
Yeah, it was a good scene. But I love their makeup and their costumes, and I thought that the way they covered their baseball bats with tape to make each of their bats look original for each one of them, I thought that was really cool. I don't know if a lot of people caught that or not, but I thought it was really unique, and also the way that they wore their uniforms. I thought that was pretty awesome.
I like the makeup that the Furies have because It reminds me of the 1979 Kiss phenomenon, and that might have been part of the allure back then. You know, hey, we'll be baseball furies, but let's do some face paint to make us look like we're Kiss fanatics. And I thought that was cool.
Not really. That really didn't come across to me, even though I did like some Kiss songs and stuff when I did watch this. That didn't come across to me. The fact that their faces were painted, I thought went really well with their costumes as baseball players, because they were supposed to be a gang that was outside of Wrigley Field from what I read about it. And the fact that, you know, baseball players have put the black under their eyes and different things like that. So I just thought it was really cool. The fact that they use the makeup to to disguise who they are, so that, you know, the next day when they're out and about, they're not people pointing the finger. He's the guy that robbed the store last night, you know. So I thought it was ingenious and cool. And I thought they were just freaking cool.
And I mean, while I love this movie, the book makes it to where you understand that these kids are mainly non-white, mostly Hispanic or black.
Mm-hmm.
And the Warriors in the film, it's a pretty even spread. It looks like the Bad News Bears. You have the white guys, you have a couple black guys, you have a couple Hispanic guys. It works really well. But the gangs surrounding them, very few persons of color. Lots and lots of Irish and Germanic representation among the young kids in the gangs and the other gangs. I'm just going to say that aloud.
So the gang, the orphans, I thought they were like Italian.
Yeah, they look very Italian.
Because the girl that came out and started the ruckus, basically, she looked very Italian. And the one guy looked like it could have been her cousin or something, the leader of the orphans. And then when you looked at a few others in the gang, they looked like they were maybe some of them looked a little like they could be Jewish, but most of them looked like they were either Portuguese or Spaniard or a Hispanic. And I don't remember there being a single black member in their gang. But you got to remember, they only had part of them, because they said that when she talked to them, she said there were 30 members in their gang. So we didn't see that number. But I did think it was kind of funny about how they were bragging that they were the newspaper, right?
Yeah.
For their crime.
Here's a copy of the newspaper from when we did this.
But they ran like little scared mice when one bottle was thrown and set a car on fire. You know, I thought that was very telling for their wimpy little gang.
That was very telling. And Ajax, in my opinion, and I'm not going to win any friends here, but anything that Ajax said in this movie, I could see myself saying even in 2023. Because whenever I have friends that say stupid things, like I will drop pejoratives without shame. And I think most people will, you know, because most of us have an expectation, you know, if you're around friends or family, you can be yourself, you know, you can call each other names that if they was put on video on YouTube, like, oh my God, let's cancel this guy. He just called that dude a faggot. And that's like, there's a comedian that I really like by the name of Doug Stanhope. And Doug Stanhope says, you know, for you people out there that think words are violence, listen, it's consonants and vowels and it makes your mouth produce sounds. And if that really hurts you, you're fucking weak. And that's all there is to it. I mean, it's just a word. It's a word. It's not a stabbing object. It's going between your ribs. It's not tickling your Adam's apple. It's a word. So go ahead and cancel me, YouTube. Anyway,
the part of that, though, that you think about it is the fact that you have all these kids growing up, and in school, every single kid's included, and they all win an award of some type, certificate for doing something. They read half a book, and the other one read a whole book, or they picked up the pencils in the rest of the class. Little things like that, which I don't think is really a good thing to teach a child, because you don't win. Every kid can't win at everything, and that's impossible. So all it does is hurt them. So by the time that they do graduate from high school and they go out and they apply for their first job and they don't get it, they go home and throw a fit and tear their bedroom to shreds. And I've seen videos of that. Of the kids tearing throwing their Xbox, breaking their TV, and and all that stuff, because they didn't get something they wanted, to get to go to a game or something. And it's like, that's what we're breeding. When you're not, my dad had 5 daughters, and we had chores we had to do. We had to, and when we went out on a date, he would turn the front porch light on when it was time for us to come in. And we had to be in the house before midnight, or else we were grounded. But we had rules, and if we didn't follow the rules, we were punished. And so to me, the kids are growing up thinking there's no circumstance, that there's nothing they can do that's going to be bad enough for them to be punished, to lose their phone or their privileges or something. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. We're seeing a bunch of spoiled, rotten brats. Even you can be a spoiled, rotten brat and not be rich. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can live in a trailer park and be a spoiled, rotten brat, used to getting everything that you want. So, I don't know, it's just sad, but, and you had that in this movie to some degree. You had some people that were used to getting what they wanted in their group, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Pushing their weight around in their group. And then you had the other ones that were more, definitely. But Swan didn't take his crap.
No. And
that's why the leader put him in charge and said, make sure that this, that, and the other happens, and that everybody does what they're supposed to. And always, involved him in all his decisions and stuff. At least that's how it came across to me, by the way that they talked to each other on the trip there. And that's why the dialogue was important. Sorry.
I really like the dialogue between the members, and then whenever Cleon's given, his information at the start of the film on the subway, I'm taking us back to that scene again. The information that Cleon imparts is fucking great, because it does come to pass where he's not there. And so everybody pretty much, when they're put to a test and Ajax is saying, well, I want to be warlord. And everybody's like, but you're not. Mm-hmm. Cleon made his choice. And then they united behind Swan, and they did what he said. Whenever, things kind of got hairy, everybody did split up for a bit, but most of them got back together. The one that didn't, aside from Fox, because he was he was basically fired from the show, but was Ajax. And Ajax, the entire time they're out there coming back, from this excursion to Coney, Ajax is looking for, man, while we're there, we might as well find some trim. I'd like to get some strange wool. And everybody's like, man, you got a one-track mind. Hey, Shadow and Sun. And Ajax, he's a red-blooded American male, God bless him, but he's kind of got his priorities a little out of whack there. And it kind of came to bite him in the ass, because he meets Mercedes Rule, who is sitting on a park bench. And she's, kind of asking questions, and she says, why don't we make out? And so he just goes for it. He plays a horny teenager really good, I might say.
Well, the thing is, what's funny about that scene was it was very rough. He was very aggressive, and
Yes.
it looked like it. It was very aggressive. When he first grabbed her and, he's pushing her back and stuff, I've had people do that to me before, and I've had to, punch him in the face or whatever. But it's scary for a woman to go through that, especially when you're by yourself. But to me, as soon as I saw her on the park bench, I was like, it's a setup. No woman in her right mind is going to sit on a park bench at night, even in a small town, by herself with no, the park with the light was way down there. But what is she waiting for? This is not a bus stop, So to me, it was obvious it was a setup, that it was a police officer sting or something, or she had a chip on her shoulder and she just wanted to blow the brains out of a man or something. I don't know. It was just, to me, it was very suspicious. So I wouldn't have been approached her. And the fact that Swan said no, we need to keep going, and he decided, hey, screw you, I'm gonna get this girl, and have some fun. So it was I don't know, to me it just showed you that Swan was the person that should be in charge, because he's not stupid.
Correct.
To fall for every dumb thing.
I really did enjoy the Warriors little game they had on PlayStation 2. And there were some parts of it where you got a chance to play as Ajax before he gets caught by the cops, which you can't avoid that part. You're playing through it, and you can get all the secret areas. You can find all the secret things. You can go watch stuff, but eventually you have to go and kind of follow the main quest. You have to be railroaded, and you lose characters. You lose Fox, you lose Ajax, and then you get a chance to try to get the rest of them home safely. But his apprehension by the police is programmed into it, and his stuff that he does in that game before that kind of round his character out quite a bit, and it's great. Yeah, Multi Gunman's like, I have the Warriors on PlayStation 2 too. It's pretty good. Yes, it's a great game. And I'm only talking about it because I'm talking about a movie from 1979 that was loved so much. In 2004 or 6 or whenever they released it, they made a fucking game that honored the source material, which was great. And it brought back a lot of the voice actors, the actors from the movie to do voice parts for the characters in the game. It's good. If you've got a kid and you want to make some clicks on YouTube, have him do a let's play of the Warriors. I bet you he will have the time of his life, because it's a great game. And you'll be watching it going, oh my God, this is actually in the game. That's cool. And you'll say that like 40 times. Hey, Shadow and Son. Yeah, everybody I know, Janet, by the way, being home before dark, that's a thing. Before I was 13, dark was the curfew. And you had to be on the porch on your way into the house. That's all there was. There was no democracy. You were living under your parents' roof. You were doing exactly what they say. And there's nothing to argue. You're the child. So do as we say. And I love that. Now, back then I hated it.
Well, we as parents ourselves, or I am, you realize that when you become a parent and you start dealing with your child yourself, you start understanding why your parents were worried about you, because you realize that there's bad things out there that will hurt your children. And that's all your parents were doing all that time, that we thought they were overbearing and trying to ruin our lives, was protect us from what we didn't understand, the evilness that's out there. So I'm glad I had a parent that was
involved with my safety.
Cared enough about me to care whether I was going to ever come home or not. So
after they are making their way to the subway, they do meet the AC Turnbulls, which looks like a skinhead group, but I don't really know if it's a quote-unquote skinhead group, because it looks like there's some different guys other than just the Germanic or Irish types.
Let's see.
They get to the subway. Fox got tossed, and then they kind of split up at this point. and one of the first groups they meet is your favorite band, the Baseball Furies. And the leader of the Baseball Furies actually got his ribs broke 3 different places.
I can believe it. I mean, they look like they really did tossle each other around when they were fighting. And it's kind of hard if you ever pretend to hit each other with a bat, even in plastic ones. It hurts.
Yeah, if you want to make it look good for the camera, it's going to hurt. Even with the play fighting, the BAMF weapons. If you ever get involved with Guard or like what Connell does, he does Ragnarok. A lot of those weapons are padded, and even with padding, you take a good whack from somebody, and you're going to kind of stagger off if it's a headshot. You're going to be seeing stars for a minute. Oh, I just got hit in the head by about 14 pounds of padding, duct tape, and a PVC pipe. Awesome. Let me go sit down.
And the way that they ran holding those bats, like it was tucked under their arm and they had the end of it in their hand, and they were pumping their arms as they ran. I just thought that was ingenious. It made it look so authentic to me. That they did it on a daily, that they were constantly doing those type of things with bats constantly. Yes. So it fit their mantra for what they were trying to get people to fear of them and where they were in the city, so it had to do with the baseball theme. And I just thought that was really ingenious. The only thing that kind of let me down a little bit was the fact that they got their butts beat so easily. It's not like the Warriors were all like muscle bound, fighters or something. They, they swing the bat, but they were like, a mile away, and then they get hit in the stomach, and then they went down with one punch, stuff like that. I was hoping for a little more, gusto to come from the one group that looks so badass to me when they were on screen to end up going down so quickly. I just thought that was kind of a letdown from myself when I first watched it, even though it's still my favorite one. I mean, I really thought they were freaking cool looking.
And that Baseball Fury scene is probably the one that if you put it on mute and watch it, if you don't have the synthesizers in the background, it gets more violent because your head will start producing the sounds of the umph and the bones cracking and all of that. And that's the one scene I looked at twice that way, and I'm like, that is a hell of a good scene.
It really is. The ground they cover, the amount of ground, it just seems like it's immense. The way they set up the camera on whatever movable, there's probably a golf cart or something like that where they had the top taken off, and the director sitting on a chair with the camera, and probably his assistant helping hold it, the camera and everything steady, and then the driver, driving so that it's smooth enough. I mean, I have seen a few where they have like a little track set up, almost like a train track, and it's very smooth. It glides along. So I don't know for sure what they use. That's interesting though, but that was a long distance to cover. And it seemed like a lot of the scenes when they were running, chasing each other, it was very smooth, and it didn't seem like it was chopped up, like they didn't do a lot of editing to fit it together. So I thought it was a really, really, really well done scene to keep the momentum.
I really, and between those two scenes, you have between the Turnbulls and the Furies, you do have the fucking orphans, which, good God, the orphans are such a sad sack of guys. The girlfriend of the leader of the orphans sees that her boyfriend is such trash that she just kind of hangs out with the Warriors the rest of the movie. and she's desperate to just escape, and that becomes a thing later on for her because Swan finds out she's never traveled. She's
Yeah,
just
I don't think that. I don't think from the way that they interacted, I don't think they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I think they were more like cousins or something like that. And because she talked down to him, and I think more if it was his girlfriend, he would have been able to get away with a little more with her. So I think that she was related to him by the way that she, talked down to him in front of the other gang members. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And
that's why I don't know. I just leaned more to where it wasn't his girlfriend. So
I think she was supposed to be the girlfriend. That's just my own personal opinion.
oh, that's fine.
Because of
I don't know. It
because of how
didn't say. They never said anything like that. And the fact that she was wearing the outfit that she was wearing with heels, I mean, and then they had her running so
Yeah.
much through the movie. I was like, there's no way. There is no way. I don't care if you wear heels every day to work and you work all day long walking around. There's no way you can run like that for
No.
miles and miles and miles, supposedly.
That's the
heels.
only part of that
and
movie
outrun
that
cops and outrun cops. So some of those scenes were kind of I just didn't understand it. Now if she had taken them off and was carrying them and running, that would have been a little more believable for me. But now I didn't really pay that much attention to that when I first saw this movie. We rented it because I wasn't really into heels or anything like that. I wore tennis shoes most of the time. In junior high or whatever. And it just didn't sink in. But as a woman, and I like wearing heels and stuff now, it was very stupid. It just didn't fit.
There's a Vin Diesel film called Triple X where he wakes up in a diner and there's a guy reading the newspaper and then there's another guy doing something. But then Triple X notices the waitress is in heels and he realizes he's in a rigged location that's not real because no waitress would stand on tile flooring in heels for 6 or 8 hours a day.
Mm-mm.
And he brings that up to Sam Jackson later on, and Bowsette says quite well. She's like, the heels would break first. Yeah. They
or her ankle. Her ankle or the heel would have broke. I mean,
what was with the positives?
Well, the thing is that any person that's wore heels and did things. I mean, sometimes I even like I said, I put on my high heel tennies and I wear them around the house. And so because it's good for your legs, it makes makes your butt tighter, all that type of stuff. So if you do exercise in them and things or do a lot in them, you're going to have nicer looking legs and you're going to walk normally. You're not going to be leaning forward or staggering around because you're used to wearing them, but you're not going to be running block after block, an uneven pavement and things like that, being dragged by a gang member and not kill yourself or break your leg or break the shoes all to pieces. So that to me was a little, out there.
Okay. I'm not a real big fan of Mercy's, but I think she has an important part in the film.
Mm-hmm.
It is an American movie, so they have to have a romantic lead, and that's the role she fulfills. Not well, but she does it, and she improves her life in the process. It seems like because at the very end, like I said, she's given this option to travel. They talk about traveling, and she's like, this is new to her. So I think that's pretty important.
I think just having a man talk to her as an equal,
was something new.
That was something that I think that came across to me, that when he talked to her, he looked her in the eye and he was very inquisitive of her. So it wasn't like he talked down to her like, oh, shut up, stuff like that. which I absolutely hate when I see that. When I see it a lot in real life too. There'll be two people be talking, and the other one will tell the other one to shut up in front of other people, which is very degrading and demoralizing. And whether it's the woman saying it to the man or the man saying it to the woman, if you do that at all, even when you're not in public, that's demoralizing. You're knocking them down. You're showing them that they're not worth talking to you on their level, that you're whoever it is. So if whatever relationship that is not going to last. So the fact that he, like the other guy, that how he talked to women, it's very degrading and demoralizing, and because they're beneath him. You see, like he puts himself on a throne around everyone else, that everyone's beneath him, even though he was just a thug. See, so I see that a lot, and that his character was just spot on, I thought, for a thug mentality type of person, likes to throw a bully, basically throws his weight around and tries to use that to get what he wants. So in a way, even though he was a warrior, when he got arrested, everybody was like, yay, because you didn't want to root for him because he was a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I liked Ajax, but that's because he's a dick.
Hmm.
And I'm okay with that. One last thing on Mercy. Some of you guys might remember her from the movie King of the Mountain, which is from '81. I remember that film very well because I watched it like 6 times on HBO one weekend because that was like all they showed. Had Harry Hamlin, Joe Bottoms, and Debbie Van Valkenburg. And it's about a group that race their cars up and down Mulholland Drive for money and prestige. Pretty cool film. She's also in Streets of Fire. She was on the show Too Close for Comfort. She played Jackie Rush, Ted Knight's daughter.
Mhm.
Was really cool.
Yeah, I've seen her in a lot of things, and I think she's a good actress.
She's a really good actress. She was in Deep Space Nine as Detective Preston, and that was in 2005. No, 2000. No, 1995. My bad. And then she's still got a big list of stuff. She was in Hellstrom. Last thing she did on TV was Hellstrom as Esther Smith, which is a recurring role for her. And the last movie she did was The Trials of Kate McCall, and she played Justice Winder. So Debbie Van Valkenburg is still doing pretty well. She's 70 years old now. I don't expect her to, do any romantic leads here anytime soon, but unless it's with, Jack Nichols, but that's Jack Nicholson, not Jack Nichols, the golfer, but the actor Jack Nicholson, and that would be what I expect. She's going to probably slow down a little bit. It's okay. You earned it. She did good.
But the direction that their relationship grew over the one night. You got to remember, this is a one evening.
Yes.
Okay. This is in the 24-hour, basically almost 24-hour span of time.
From 7 p.m. to 5 or 6 a.m.
Yeah, something like that. So it's not even 24 hours, it's like very short amount of time for the characters to have their arcs, throughout the movie, for either you love them or you hate them, but you got to learn something about them and see whether or not they achieve any goals or, how it's going to end up, how the story's going to end up. So their progression of them two and their characters to me was, basically believable, because at first when he sees her as an orphan, there with the other orphans, he doesn't know for sure what her relationship is because nobody says it outright. He just assumes, and she's the only girl out there. There's no other women, okay, at all for a long time in the movie until the Lizzies show up, right?
Right.
But the thing is that he just assumes she's a tramp. He assumes it because everyone else does, because of the way she's dressed, the outfit she's wearing, the heels that she's wearing, and the way she speaks. Okay. So he assumes that she's a tramp. So later during the ride in the subway, when the young prom people get on going home from the prom, and they're all giggly and and holding hands, and they're dressed real fancy, and they got their hair done up, and they have makeup on, and they're, you know, in their fancy duds or whatever. And they sit down, and they're across from her and Swan, and they're sitting there, and she's head to toe dirty. Her feet are dirty, her legs are dirty, her dress is dirty and torn, her jacket's dirty, her hair's a mess. She's not wearing makeup, and she's dirty.
Yeah.
And they look at her, and you can see the looks on their face. They're not rude or anything, really. They just, you can tell that they kind of feel embarrassed, that they you know, they feel embarrassed for her, that she's, you know, poor or whatever. They don't know her circumstances, but they feel sorry for her. You can almost see their pity for her, right?
Yeah.
So she feels it, and she starts to, you know, mess with her hair. She reaches up and starts to touch it, and he grabs her hand and puts it down. At that moment, he realized what a dick he was. You know what I mean? So that is a huge character arc for Swan's character, and for her, because it was it brought her down a few notches. You know what I mean?
But she doesn't hate in that. I hate to say that so derisively, but she, you know, she's from an environment where you can be aggressive, but when you get out of that environment in front of normal people that have agendas going on, and, you know, for the next 3 hours I'm doing this, or for the next 2 hours I'm in my Sunday best. She's not in any position to be making demands of other people, and I can understand why Swan did that. I can understand that, but
because he saw that she was embarrassed by how she looked, and she was trying to fix her hair or do something to herself to be more presentable in front of them. So she had a character arc because she realized that she was at a place now. Okay. In the presence of certain people, she didn't fit in. So she had a character arc in that moment, and so did he. And he saw her differently after that. And he treated her differently after that. So, and then with the fact that you see that them leave, and the one corsage falls to the floor, and then later you see him hand it to her. You don't see him pick it up or anything. You just see him hand it, and she's like, "What's this for?" So, to me, that was a very good, important character arc for both their characters to grow and see each other on a more human level, and see them for their faults, and accept that they're human. You know what I mean? So I liked it, because that, to me, showed that there could be a relationship there. You know, just because you kiss someone or you make out with someone doesn't mean there's a relationship. That just means that you're horny, basically. You know, it's a physical emotion, and physical emotion does not make a relationship. A relationship is based on mutual needs, fulfilling a gap that's in your life, wanting this person to share different parts of your life with you. That's a relationship. Just wanting to have sex with someone, you can do that with anyone. You can go to the bar and pick up somebody and tell them to get the hell out the next morning. That's not a relationship.
Way of life.
But getting up and wanting to make breakfast for that person, or going to get them a cup of coffee and bring it to them, and then sit down by them, kiss them on the forehead and give them a cup of coffee and say good morning. That's a relationship. That's the difference. And I could see both of them when they looked at each other that next day, when they were talking about traveling, that they were wanting to do it together and make a go for it, just to see what happens. See what happens with that.
When we're going to discuss the book a little bit. For those of you that have already read the book, don't spoil it for Miss Janet. I'll do that here towards the second hour, or after the second hour starts, because the book has got some real differences in it. I mean, Mercy would not have survived the book. That's all I'm really going to say. And it's the book was written primarily kind of like a coming of age tale. And I know that sounds really weird, but just follow me on that when I start talking about that. I really like her character arc towards the end of the film, because Swan hands her that
corsage,
the corsage, and he says, "I just don't like seeing anything get wasted." and he's like, it belongs with you. You're the one that's here, and it's here. It should be yours. And I thought that was important because that kind of showed you where he valued her, like she could be the keeper of the corsage.
And on top of that, you have to remember this too. He did it in front of the rest of the gang.
Yeah, there is that.
So him lower himself in his maleness to beat himself on the chest, in front of the other guys. He handed her flowers, and he gave them to her in front of them. So to me, that's another part of his character arc, showing that he can be compassionate.
And I don't think that's really too out of character for him.
No, I don't think so.
I think throughout the entire movie, he showed his compassion and his ability to stay his hand, and he was thinking ahead. He was always trying to think of how can I get the group safely to where we can, be back at the shore where we belong. Because this book, this movie, they both are very much echoing an old story from Xenophon's Anabasis, which the novel was based on. And the movie kind of went that way, but then they did a re-release for the Warriors film, and they added comic book portions of it for storyboarding between scenes and transitions. And they really brought that out. They really brought the story of Xenophon's Anabasis or Anastasis, whatever that is. They made that to where it was worthy of you watching it again from front to back. And it was great because you get to see the director sharing the vision the writer originally had. Throughout the book, one of the characters is reading, a character named Junior. He reads a comic book version based on Anabasis, which the novel's completely based on. And Junior is reading through the comic book throughout pretty much the entire story. That's his thing, that's his portion of the book. He's really not much of a big player. The Dominators is the name of the group in the book, and they're mainly Hispanic and African Americans. They're the central characters of the book. There's 7 of them, and you get to know them fairly well in the book. But in the movie The Warriors, they do a very good job of drawing a parallel to Xenophon's tale, so much better with this re-release.
One thing that I want to interject about this movie and the different things that they did outside the movie to get different people to want to have something to do with it, even after it was out. The fact that they integrated the music the way they did, the songs, the album that came out with the movie, by using the DJ to talk to the people of the city to let them know that they were looking for the Warriors and that the Warriors better watch their back because everyone's after them. Everyone's out to get them and get revenge. Yeah. And the thing is that we knew the Warriors weren't going to hear the radio because they were on the run, and they didn't have a radio on them. But anyone that lives in the city would know there's a lot of people that are listening to the radio and getting to hear the DJ talk about this. Some of them are going to wonder who are the Warriors? Who are they?
One thing I think the movie missed. Back in the 70s, we had these very weird but kind of cool. Before the Walkman came out, we all had these. They were about the size of our phones today, especially your phablet phones. But they had transistor radios. And everywhere I went, when I would go with my parents in Decatur, I would always see people carrying around transistor radios, listening to whatever it was.
And they had one earphone.
Yeah. And you'd get one earphone in it, typically. They didn't have dual earphones because it wasn't in stereo. You're not missing anything. And AM radio never broadcast in stereo, to my knowledge. I mean, it might now, but back then it was just a mono channel thing, and that you just dealt with it. But everybody had those, and that's one thing. When I thought about it later, I'm like, they would have had radios. They would have heard the DJ talking to them. And then there's 2 points in the movie where Luther makes a phone call. And then like 3 minutes later, here comes the lips of the DJ. And I love how Walter shot this part. Anytime Lynn Thigpen was on camera, you didn't see Lynn Thigpen. That's the actress's name who played her. Rest in peace, lady.
Yeah.
They zoomed in on her lips and the microphone, and that was all you saw. And it was
I loved it
because she kind of, along with the narration that you would watch envelop, she would help you skip scenes and non-important parts. You know, I mean, is it really important for you to see the characters walking through all of Tremont through the Bronx? No, not really. Okay, we speed this up. We have her interject, "Hello there, Bappas," and I love her urban slang throughout this film. She completely saturated herself in the lingo at the time, and it was great. And damn it, you know, my hat's off to you, Lynn.
The music that they played with each thing that she talked about, having a corresponding song that played along in the movie, I thought was ingenious. I mean, and then I remembered, every time I heard one, I was like, I remember this song on the radio, you know? So to me, it was very smart. It was a marketing tool, and it was telling the story. You know?
I love, now that I think about it, the soundtrack was cued to every time she'd play someone on radio, it was cued directly to what was going on in the movie.
To the warriors. It was a story basically on the run. You know, they're like, you know, the different songs that popped up had to do with what was going on at the time. I thought it was really, really good.
Now, for those of you that haven't played it yet, if you do get a chance to play the 2005 video game The Warriors on a PS2 or a PS2 emulator, you're going to hear most of, if not all, the soundtrack on that game. I'm just going to let you know that.
And they should.
Yeah, and the game that game is really, that's probably Rockstar's up until and I love the GTA series, don't get me wrong, but up until San Andreas, I thought The Warriors was peak. I really did. Now, they were released within like 2 years of each other, but it was still really damn good. I didn't play San Andreas until like 4 years ago, though. I know, I'm a late bloomer. Hot coffee, by the way. Well, there's a thing in San Andreas for hot coffee, but gamers would get it. Most others, not really so much. It's neat how after she's done that, after she has given them their running orders, you know, she talks about the orphans, you know, weren't able to close the deal.
Yeah, and the Furies. The Furies struck out. You know, I just thought it was ingenious. The way that they integrated her character. You knew what she was doing for a living. They zoomed in on the little dials and knobs, you know, and then the microphone, and then you see her mouth move in, and she had beautiful white teeth and red lipstick, and then she's telling them something, and then she see her hand go over to the record and place the needle on it. I thought it was ingenious. And then to integrate the song to go along with whatever that was going in the next scene. Then you had the different people reporting to the next person in line under Cyrus about what was going on and whether or not they've been successful or whatever. I mean, I just thought it was really, really good. I don't know if it was in the book that way or not, but for the story, I think it made it flow well. And it added so much depth to what was going on, because each time they did that, you realized it's not just them on the run. There's a whole buttload of people after them, you know, and they have to sneak around. and because the cops are out on the streets too. So it's not just gangs. They were worried about police officers because of what happened. So at the beginning, when you saw them all there, and then the cops were surrounding the place, we don't know whether or not the dweeb that shot Cyrus in the beginning had called the cops and told them there was a big meeting, a bunch of gangs, and they were about to commit crimes or whatever, and got a whole bunch of cops to show up, you know. So we don't, because you see him in the payphone, right, making these phone calls and saying, you know, whatever it is he was saying. I don't even know who he was talking to. I think it was that woman at the DJ or whoever. I don't know who it was he was talking to. Do you?
No, I don't. I think that's kind of left intentionally like that, because otherwise you'd have her at the very end of the movie like, well, Warriors, I don't know what happened. But at the very end of the film, she's talking pretty proudly, you know, Gramercy Rips are going to take care of business. Warriors, you have yourself a good morning, you know, and she lets them off the hook, tells everybody to put down your weapons call. We're not.
Well, in a way, I kept thinking in the back of my mind, watching it again to, you know, for this review, with things that have been going on the way they are right now in the world. And I kept thinking, he's calling his mom.
God.
And he probably lives in her basement. I mean, that sounds terrible, but that's what popped in my head. Now, none of that popped in my head, you know, a few other times I watched it before, because it just never, I don't know. I think that this last couple of years has just really chipped away at people. So we can't help it when we watch this. We're putting these people into these categories, or I don't know, you know, labeling them. Like I never used to do that, but I see myself in my mind saying, "Oh my God, that's a Karen," you know. So I don't know. And I think it's terrible that we do it, but I couldn't help it. Every single time he made those phone calls, or you saw him in that one scene when he goes, "'Cause it was fun," you know, and they get in that beat up old car that's covered with, it was a cool car though. I thought that car was freaking cool as heck. I would drive
much better
it.
than the school bus that the AC touring bowls were using. I'll say that much.
It was an awesome car. I love the paint job on it. I would drive it right now. I mean, I would. People would be pointing at me, but man, it was cool. I would drive it. I mean, if I could get my hands on it.
You're gonna hate me for saying this, and yeah, and incoming hot take. When the Warriors encountered the roller skating punks. All the punks are dressed up in Oshkosh Bagosh coveralls.
Yeah, overalls.
I thought that there's not a band of people more misplaced in New York City than this. And then I thought about it, like, man, I bet you Janet's like looking at this dude like, man, he was kind of cute for being like 22. And the second guy they really focus on with the punks, he was a stuntman. And he died before this movie was released.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did he die? Doing a stunt?
You doing a stunt? There's a. I'll get to the all cast and crew just for a second here, but there was a movie called Men of Steel, I believe, in 1979, and where's the punks at? Punks, come on, punks. AJ Bakunis, and he was an actor known for The Warriors, The Bees, and The Stuntman, and he died in 78 in Lexington, Kentucky. And he one of the best Hollywood stuntmen ever. He was a specialist of high falls, which he shows off in a number of the films like Hooper, The Stuntman, Go Tell the Spartans, and Steel. And he died during the shooting of Steel when his landing pad didn't hold tight. And his dad was present at the scene watching the situation. This is the first time he's watching his son go to work, and his son dies.
That's so sad.
Yeah, they were doing these record-breaking stunts at the time. And in the stuntman, or in the movie Steel, he just was playing the role for George Kennedy, and he falls off this beam and he hits the ground. The pad didn't hold right, and he got some pretty nasty chest trauma, and he was dead the next day.
That's terrible.
It is. And he died before this movie was released. He died September 21st, 78. He was born October 23rd, 1950. But A.J. Bakunis was the number 2 guy for the roller skating punks. And sir, we salute you. The punks attack these guys at the subway station, and that's the time when you get to see Mercy actually fight, which it's not really, she doesn't really quote unquote fight, but she puts herself at risk pretty bad. Her and Rembrandt are not really that good of fighters, but Rembrandt, I'll give Rembrandt some credit. He got stabbed. No, he got stabbed or shot. I think he got sliced up by one of the Lizzies, and he has to get bandaged up later.
No, he got shot, I thought.
One of the two. The Lizzies are going to stormtrooper school, and this is why I tell all devout fathers that, you know, love their families, when you get old enough with your daughter, I need you to take your daughter to the range and teach her how to shoot. Well, these girls couldn't shoot worth a fuck. Like, everybody left.
Well, to me, it seemed like the girls were there. Their men were gone to the big, you know, the big gang meetup.
Yep.
So they were there alone, and they heard on the through the grapevine that the warriors, you know, like there was a price on their head or something. So
they didn't have the radio on; they were using a jukebox.
Well, I know, but that didn't have to be just a radio. They could have heard, one of the other people heard something and came over and told them about it. So, and then when they saw them and figured out who they were like, hey, this is our way to get our name, you know, in there. I was trying to find this thing I found about the Lizzies. I'm looking real quick. Here it is.
The Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt were the 3 men there. And the Lizzies kind of lay the trap out, and the boys walk right into it, except for Rembrandt. Rembrandt's like, I don't think you got time for this.
Well, he was young.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if he was, you know, he wasn't really a gang member yet. He was in the gang, but he hadn't really lived the life of a gang banger. You know what I mean? So he wasn't really tarnished yet. He was still young enough to where if somebody was to have taken him under their wing and taken him out of the gang, that his life could be different. At least that's how I looked at it. But at the very beginning, when one of the people during the fight said to go through the crowd, right, to stay in the crowd, to get out of there or whatever, and then you had Swan tell him to stay behind me, you know, all this stuff. So basically, a few of the members themselves were looking out for him, trying to keep him from really seeing the harshness of what could be, or getting hurt because of what their environment was. But I wanted to read this thing I pulled up about the Lizzies, because it was people's descriptions of the different gangs, and I just thought it was really cool. It says the Lizzies are an all-female and possibly lesbian gang operating out of the Bowery. Their hangout is located near the CBGB. For a uniform, they all wear a watercolored pattern rainbow shirt, which can be seen under their hooded sweaters and jackets in the film. It says in the game, members wear jackets with their logo. It says designed for the game, embroidered on the back, you know, almost like the Pink Ladies from Greece. Okay. And then it says, the lack of a gang patch in the film explains why Vermin asks them what outfit they are. So I guess there's a character in the game called Vermin.
Yep.
I don't know. I haven't played the game before.
And then it says, Vermin is he's in the movie, and I'll get him drawn up.
Well, then it says in the film they meet Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt of the Warriors in the subway, and they bring them back to their hangout under the guise of partying and having sex. However, it soon becomes apparent they lured them there in an attempt to take revenge on the warriors, whom they believe shot the Rift's leader, Cyrus. This scene is recreated in the video game. So I just thought that was very interesting, the point of view that this person had, that they were lesbians. I didn't get that at all. But I'm not a lesbian, so maybe that's why I didn't. But to me, just seeing them standing there looking at the guys on the street, it seemed to me that when they were saying, sure, you girls would have guys all around you or whatever, and they said, well, they're out of town. And that to me made me think that, oh, these are probably high-ranking girls of a gang, whichever gang, they're associated with in their, turf area, which they didn't mention, but I'm sure there were the high-ranking girls dating the high-ranking men in the gang, whatever other gang it was in that turf.
Here's
So
Jerry Nichols right here, the played Vermin.
Who was it?
That's Vermin right here. This character I'm circling.
Oh, okay. Oh, the one who said he had a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was funny. But that's what I took from it. That was my point of view. I may not be right, but that's what I pictured when they were interacting with the guys. And that I don't think at first, when they first encountered them, that they knew that they were warriors. I think once they, started talking to him and interacting, that's when the leader, the one girl that did most of the talking, realized who they were, and kind of like the girls went along with her when she said, yeah, come back to the place with us, blah, 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 let's party or whatever, have a good time. So that's when they realized okay, we got to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to do this. And that was only the reason I thought that, or had that concept in my head, is the fact that how shitty they were at using the weapons to capture these guys. So to me, if they really were a gang and they were lesbians and whatever else like this, that these other people's points of view were, they would have been better at weapons, defending themselves, fighting off the other gangs from around the town, right? Mm-hmm. But they weren't very good at it from what we saw. So I would have leaned more towards they were girlfriends of gang members, and they were in their their hideout or hangout, and there's available weapons there. And as she picked up the gun and shot it, you could definitely tell she had no idea what she was doing.
The Lizzie's scene is interesting. The people always call them lesbians because their name's the Lizzies, which that's fine if you want to say that. But I didn't catch that they were lesbians at all. There were two girls dancing with each other, but that I didn't see them.
I danced with my girlfriends, so I'm not a lesbian.
And I'm pretty certain if you ever did anything lesbianish, somebody would put it on video because they're like, "Oh my god, look at this." And
well, that's a guy's most men's fetish is to be with two women. So be a sandwich or whatever you want to call it, be the meat in between the two pieces of bread, that type of thing. I think that's like every guy's fantasy. Menage a trois.
Without drugs, it doesn't work out as well as you like. My bad. Did I say that aloud? I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, because you get too excited too quickly.
Yeah. Once they get at Union Square, they start getting everybody kind of back together. The Lizzie's scene happens. Snow and Cowboy talk to Swan and let him know that Ajax won't be joining them, and they get into a fight with the punks, which, like I said, Mercy kind of gets involved with that fight a little bit, and she even states later, she's like, "I helped you," which she's trying to show him that she has value, and he already sees that. He already sees it. And when they are on their way out of the station, back on the subway, they have the scene with the prom couples, and they kind of realize, like, we're over here fighting for our lives, and these people are just living their lives. They're just living their best life, and here we are, us poor people, and
Yep.
throughout that in exchange, the prom couples leave, and the corsage gets left behind. He gives her the corsage, and they get to Coney Island. Swan kind of feels like, okay, I did it. I made my bones. I've got everybody home safe that I could. And then
Yep.
Luther is in the damn car banging 3 bottles together.
Yep. That was real intense. When I heard the bottles clinging together.
That scene was an impromptu scene because they were having a hard time. Luther, David Patrick Kelly wasn't doing well with his lines, and Walter Hill just said, "David, go smoke a cigarette, get back in the car, clear your head, and just come up with something. It'll happen." And pretty much like magic, it did. And that's one of the most iconic scenes in 20th century filmmaking, which I can think of off the top of my head, aside from, a horse head in the middle of a bed. I really like that scene because you realize that this isn't anywhere near over yet. And right before that, something was whispered to the new warlord of the Gramercy Rifts, and they're on the roll. They're moving somewhere. And so Luther, was, come on, let's go. And all the boys get a club in their hand or a piece of broken pipe. One of the punks inadvertently gave Swan a pocket knife, so now Swan's got that.
Yeah, but before this scene happens, we get to see in the up in upper New York when that one group from Cyrus's gang,
Gramercy
where
Rifts.
where you see them bring in another guy, and they say, "Hey, he says he saw who shot Cyrus." So that little glimmer of hope is, oh, somebody's going to stop them from being killed or slaughtered, right?
And that's what was exactly going to happen.
Yeah. So the thing is, you don't know for sure how long it's going to take, because look how long it's taken just for this little group to get back to Coney Island, right? So we don't know. Well, they find out about this other person just a little bit before these scumbags show up to take these guys out, because they don't want them to tell anyone that they did it. So it really, really, it ends the scene really well for the people who know that the Warriors weren't involved in it. And they've already lost a couple of their gang members and their friends.
Yeah.
Because of the lie.
The story, the story that this is based on, when the Persians get to the shore and they can see the ocean, they're refreshed, they're renewed, they are given a second strength, and they're like, okay, we're home, we're where we're supposed to be at. And in this movie, that basically happens at the same instance, where the guys are on the beach. They're like, this is it. This is our home. This is it. And they arm up, and Luther, pulls his pistol out, and that's in response to Swan saying, let's go, just you and me. And Luther's like, no, one-on-one, no, you're dead. All of you are dead, and you know it. And then he pulls a shot off, but the way it's set up, oh no, Bruce is using miniatures again. You got the Warriors all here behind Swan, and Luther is like this. I for certain thought that Luther was going to shoot one of them, even if Swan ducked out of the way.
Yep.
And I didn't see that. And I know that there were other people possibly even in the theater that night that was wondering who was going to get shot. And
Yeah.
it would have probably been better if somebody got shot, because then it would have given that scene more weight. Because Luther had not only killed once, but twice that we know of.
Or even wounded them, just
Yeah.
wounded someone, shot him in the shoulder or something.
Exactly. I would have liked it a little better if that bullet didn't disappear into the prop gun used by Alex Baldwin. And
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the bullet should have hit one of the other warriors. Not saying that Swan, dived and one of the other guys like, "I got you, boss." No, but I'm just saying, with the way that everybody was standing there, you have all the asshole rogues over here.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, because when you're looking, because at the view from the guy with the gun in his hand and he's pointing it at Swan, and behind him you see the girl and the other gang members behind Swan.
I thought Cochise was going to get it.
So when the gun goes off, he shoots it right when the knife is going in, but he shoots it. So where did the bullet go? And I was thinking it had to have shot somebody. But then the next thing you know, he's screaming and he's down on his knees, and nobody's falling over or grabbing their chest or anything. So I was shocked.
Yeah, that was some Hollywood movie plot protection magic bullshit, but I won't pitch too much
It's a
about
lead
it.
bullet. It just fell out of the gun.
Yeah. Obviously, Helena Hutchins was robbed.
Mhm.
Did I say that aloud? I'm not sorry.
Yes.
Alec Baldwin, you're a shitty shot. You are. Wow, did I just? Yeah, I did. Okay, so the Gramercy Riffs kind of say their piece
Mhm.
to the Warriors, and then the
But
big guy.
that was one of the things that I thought was so cool about this scene, was you have that moment where he says, why did you do it? Okay. When he confronts him. And at that moment, we don't know who's standing on the other side of the beach. Okay. We just see the one angle. So he says, why'd you do it? And he said, because I wanted to. I do stuff like that, or whatever type thing. It shows you how depraved he is, in nuts, or whatever he is, right? And then you see, all of a sudden you see when he pulls the gun out, and that's when he falls to the ground, and then the camera angle changes and you see the one guy with the glasses. What was his name? From the New York gang, the big one.
Oh, you're asking me at the wrong time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't remember what his name is, but the leader, now that Cyrus is dead, now you have the new leader, right?
Masai.
Yeah, Masai. And he's standing there and he's surrounded by, it looks like, 50 men.
Yes.
Okay. And they all look, fierce. They look like they're into jiu-jitsu or
Kung Fu.
judo or kung fu or karate or something. They just look like real fighters, and they all have those hockey sticks on them, right? Mm-hmm. Which I thought was cool too, because see, you had the different things that are going on in the city, and they took something from their area and made it a part of their gang, like baseball bats or roller skates or or hockey pucks or hockey sticks, So I just thought it was really, really cool that they had hockey sticks. And then you see them walk up, and that's when Swan says, "So are you here for us?" Because they pretty much knew that it was over. You could tell it was over for them. They knew it was the end, and there was nowhere for them left to go, because what's behind them? The ocean. So it was a finalization for the group as a whole, that they made it, but they made it home, and now they're all going to die, Yeah. And then that's when he said, no, we're here for him, because that's when they realize they know the truth, and they don't have to explain anything. They just have to leave. And that's when the guy said that your place is open, or you're free, or something like that, to where basically they own everything up until their area. basically. So basically now, because they know of what the sacrifices they went through due to this guy lying, and that they fought their way home and made it all the way home alive, the ones that were there, that they earned their right to keep their turf, basically. Because to me, the speech that Cyrus gave was that, your turf really wasn't worth anything if someone else can take it from you, right? That's how it came across. So basically, this new leader of this gang basically gave it to him scot-free, where they wouldn't have to defend it anymore, basically, because it belongs to them, from what he said in front of all his gang. So to me, that was like a trophy, basically, a big neon sign that they put above Coney Island saying "back off," because this is protected by the rest of us. So I thought that was a really good ending for them after what they went through, and the fact that him and her were gonna, who knows what, that they had a future together, that they chose to see what happens, and I thought that was, very romantic in a sad kind of way, because they still didn't have anything. You know what I mean? They still had nothing except for each other. So what a good way to go. I mean, to start fresh with nothing but each other. That's definitely a new budding romance, basically, which I thought was very romantic.
I love the movie. I think it's probably going to be one of these movies that they're going to eventually they're going to put it into like some sort of like vault in Congress next to Star Wars, next to Wizard of Oz. They're going to eventually do that with this.
Yeah, this is which is sad, because it has a great development of a story about the characters in it, their own character arcs, also the character arcs for the city, for the effects of the gangs, what the gangs do to a city, all those different aspects of it, the music in it, and getting to see what most people never see. I mean, yeah, you're on the subway, you see a couple thugs sitting over there, or this, that, and the other, or you see them spray painting or doing something, but you don't really, you brush it off, just like the two couples that got on the subway. They were having a great time. They just left their prom. They were kissing and making out, and now they're going to go somewhere to eat. That's what it looked like, traveling to go eat or go get something, or go home, or wherever it was. But they sat down in a subway, and they got to look across 4 feet of space and see the other side of life. So their eyes were open to something that they thought they'd really never see again, or see ever in their life, because of where they live and where they came from. So I don't know. I just thought it was a very good portrayal of what most people never see in the cities. You know what I mean? You get to see a whole different side of what where you live, because every city has a poor section.
And for those of you that I'm dropping a couple of links here in chat. One link I dropped is the Wikipedia article on the novel written by Mr. Yolnick, and that novel, just it's not the whole novel. It's the Wikipedia article. It gives you the basic bones of it. Mm-hmm. Just keep in mind it was written in 1965, and verbiage is a little different than nowadays. And don't act like a little girl when you see things in the Wikipedia article that offend you. The second link I just dropped is the full fucking Warriors movie for free on YouTube, which I think anybody who loves good movies.
Well, how were you able to do that on YouTube?
No. This is YouTube movies. This is YouTube movies themselves have just put this movie in the last like 12 or 13 days. They've made this movie. It's for free. There's some other free movies that are available.
That's really good.
But if you want to watch this movie for free, it looks like it's this is a theatrical cut. It's not the special edition, which has the transitions I was talking about. But This is on YouTube Films, and it has the complete theatrical version. It looks like it's rated R, so you got to log in with your age.
Mm-hmm.
But check it out. This is a great film if you haven't seen it anytime lately. And you're going to just sit back for about 92 minutes and enjoy yourself. This is a great, great film. And God
Yes.
bless you, Walter Hill, for making such a wonderful fucking movie.
Yeah, it is very. He did a very good job. His vision of it. I haven't read the book, so I really can't compare it to that. But the vision that I got to see, it's still good even after all this time. The story is still good. The premise of it, what happens to the characters in it, all of it could still be. It could exactly happen the same way in today's time. So, and the fact that only one person dies from a gunshot wound in this movie. So you can't say how much violence is in this, that, and the other, and it's always guns, 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 guns. That's all you hear. This has knife violence. It has hockey puck violence. It has steel pipe violence. It it has fists, elbows, rocks, knees. It has everything in it. I mean, they're using a Molotov cocktail. Everything's in this. I mean, they use anything they can get their hands on in the city, in the ghetto. And that's what I liked about it. And the fact. The one scene I thought was really, really good too, but after the one between the baseball gang, the one with the roller skating wimpies people that were Oshkosh Bagosh or whatever in the bathroom, the whole thing was fought in the men's room.
Yep.
And the opening scene in the fight, when the fight starts, when the one guy pushes open real quickly the stall door, and that one young guy, the one who did die in real life at 28, has a can of spray paint. That's all he's got on him, and he sprays the guy in the face. And so that's when the whole thing, and then the doors start being ripped open and bashed open, and the fists are flying, and anything else, bats are swinging. I mean, they got everything going. So that was a really good, exciting fight in the men's bathroom. I thought it was really good. People slamming against tile, cracking tile on the wall, and in the sinks, landing in the sinks, just all over the room. It was a good fight. It went from every different direction and angles that you could think of. And I thought it was very well made. It was a very exciting scene. And then when the two are sitting on the floor in front of the stalls and people are flying all around them, people getting their ass beat, I thought it was great. And I like the fact that you got to see some of the warriors getting their butts kicked in this scene, instead of seeing them win over and over again, which made it, which gets to be kind of monotonous when you see that kind of stuff happening in a movie where the person's not getting any bruises or swelling or broken bones or stabs or anything. After a while in a movie, it just makes it so lame. But I like those two scenes the most for fights for myself. But I thought the bathroom scene was really, really good. And the one scene, though, it did make me chuckle a little, was in the subway where they're running up the stairs, and then they're running down the stairs. And then they're running back up the stairs and around a big booth, and then back up some stairs, and then back down some stairs, with the whole time with cops chasing them. It was almost like a couple of little scenes taken out of the Keystone Cops movie. Because it was like a comic break, showing them how they're playing the cops because they know the subway so well or whatever. I just thought that was kind of funny. So I enjoyed it.
And for those of you that are in the chat, when we wrap up this stream, go ahead and just kind of pause things. Don't let it advance. I'm dropping some links in the chat here that you guys might find fun to watch because they're the extras off of the DVD. Or I'm finding things like the Warriors' Last Train to Coney Island. There's a Warriors at Steel City Con back in 2021. It's just stupid, silly stuff. But if you enjoyed the Warriors that much, if you're a fan, and what I mean by fan is something on TV might have your attention, but you decide to watch the Warriors instead because you stumbled upon it on TBS, and you'll watch it with commercials. If you're that level, then if you haven't already seen these, here's some extra icing for that cake of yours, and enjoy your cake.
Yeah, enjoy it. But also it's the I just really, really think it's a refreshing movie. It's even though it's got a lot of violence and stuff in it, it's refreshing because it shows you that even the underbelly of a city can come together for a cause. You know what I mean? At the beginning, the cause is to get revenge for the murder of the leader of the biggest gang in New York City. But then as time goes by, they're finding out that that they're not the ones who committed the murder, that he was murdered, but that it was another group of people that did the killing. And they have to do something to try to make it up to them, even though they can't bring back their fallen ones, and they can't bring back the fallen ones from the other gangs who were either killed or maimed, in all because of one lie, you know. So I like that premise. I mean, especially right now, we have so much turmoil going on because there's so much lying. I mean, the press lies, stars lie.
How many UFOs are you gonna shoot down?
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's just, and we got, what is it, 4 trains now that's been derailed and with chemicals on them. It's like Texas, Ohio, and South Carolina, I think. And then somebody said something, they thought maybe in Louisiana there was another one, and all of them supposedly carrying chemicals. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, but the thing is,
no food processing.
it was under the other administration before this one, not the T one, but the one before the T administration. It supposedly is the ones that passed the stuff to let the news media not be truthful about what they're telling people. So we are now under not real news anymore. And someone called it something different, you know, propaganda news or whatever you want to call it. It's not real news. So you just have to be very careful of what information you absorb and spew to others. Try to research it first and make sure you're getting the right facts. Just like this lady, you know, did the radio pipeline or whatever you want to call it, because she was sending signals out to the whole city. If they were tuned in, you know, if the right people were tuned in, they would be full of knowledge. But you have to tune in and try to find the information for yourself if you want to know the truth, because you're not going to get it from the sources that you think you're getting it from. So, that's my little political spiel.
That's fine.
But I can't help it. That's what I feel from this. I mean, you know, even though the leader of the Cyrus wanted to start a citywide gang, basically is what it was, to where they would take over everything without being elected. You know, they would just step in and take responsibility for who gets what. And they didn't care about anyone who owned the property. They just cared about what they wanted. So, it was, I don't know, to me, the premise of it was really, really scary if you think about it. Just like what he said about the numbers. Think about the numbers. Go back and look at how many people are in the city. So many people, 1.5 million people in one city. And then how many police officers do you have? Compared to how many crimes you have and how many criminals you've got. That's kind of scary. Definitely could overwhelm any government, the government or police officers and things like that, if they knew enough about how they could control the few police officers. How do you stop that?
Very true.
It's very scary. You think about it. So somebody could do something similar to that and cause, a lot of havoc in a big city. And then I think that you think about it, the movie that came out was Escape from LA and Escape from New York. So, and weren't they pretty much a hit? Those two movies?
Mm-hmm. Say again?
The two movies, Escape from LA and Escape from New York.
Yeah, the amazing first one with John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, and then the 1997 miserable sequel that I hate acknowledging exists, because it's like the one thing that both Kurt Russell and John Carpenter did that took all the chrome off their previous work, and I had to go and rewatch everything like 10 times just to make sure that they were really good movies, except for that one in 97. God, I hate that movie.
Well, we can't have everything we want. We all hate something.
Everybody has a low point. I get it.
Yep.
I just wanted, I saw something interesting on Wikipedia, and I'm like, oh, this kind of actually would fit fairly well. So, all right, here's my face. Okay, so the filmmakers did extensive casting in New York City. Walter Hill was considering hiring Sigourney Weaver from Alien, and watched a movie she filmed in Israel called Madman, where the male lead opposite Weaver was played by Michael Beck. Walter was impressed with Beck's performance and cast him for the Warriors. And Hill, once initially a Puerto Rican actress for the role of Mercy, but Deborah Van Valkenburg's agent convinced him to see her, and she was eventually cast. They also wanted to cast Tony Danza in the role of Vermin, but he was in the sitcom Taxi, and Terry Mikos was cast instead, which they do kind of look alike. Now, while there's characters in York's book, there's white characters in the book, none of the central characters or protagonists are white, according to Hill. And Paramount did not want an all-black cast for commercial reasons. Boy, how times have changed. Paramount, by the way, is the ones who did eventually release the movie. Initially, it was going to be American movie, American movie industry, but nothing came of that for like the first couple years. And this was a solid script from like 1977, but then they said we got to do it really cheap, and so Larry Gordon and Walter Hill got together and they said, let's do it for super cheap. And Paramount's like, a super cheap movie? Yeah, we'll take it. And that's exactly what happened. Now, after Mikos gets cast, there's a couple things that happen. Walter Hill saw Thomas G. Waite's Windows from The Thing as the next James Dean, and director invites the young actor to the Gulf and Western to watch movies like Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden for inspiration. And during the screening, Walter Hill offers Waits a drink, which Waits refused. Now, and that causes a rift between the two that grew worse throughout the entire summer shoot. And at one point, Waits threatened to report the working conditions to the SAG, and that forced Paramount to provide a second trailer for the 8 Warriors to share. And after 8 weeks in the principal photography, tension on Waits and Hill is at the breaking point. Hill demands to the stunt coordinator, Craig Baxley, make a fucking stunt scene which Waits' character is killed. Baxley's like, what? That's a critical scene. We have to take careful planning. And Hill's like, I don't give a shit how you kill him. And Baxley calls the director saying, kill him off. So Baxley finds a crew member who resembles Waits, and stages a scene where the character is thrown off a subway platform in front of an approaching train. It was like someone cut my soul out and left a shell. And Waits kind of remembered that. And he demands later his name's removed from the cast altogether, and he's still uncredited to this day, which is kind of funny. Now, there is a link. Bruce did drop a link, and I'll drop it again here. That is Waits, Thomas Waits, the character that plays Fox. He comes clean and he like absolves Hill, and him and Hill have reconciled. They're not buddies, but they are professionals, and they're like, we can work with each other. If we work together again, we can work with each other. It's not going to happen. At the time, I was young, and I thought he was trying to romance me or something, which it does sound kind of like a romantic thing. Come on, kid, we're going to watch some really hot movies together, and while we're there, I'm going to give you some whiskey. How's that also feel? All right.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything about Walter Hill being gay, but there are locked rooms for a reason. There are reasons, for things. But anyway, I've never heard Hill is gay. He's one of my favorite directors. He was very instrumental in the enjoyment of movies as I've graduated into my 40s. I'll just say that the Aliens film I've seen probably more times in the past 3 years. I've watched Alien probably close to 20 times, if not 22 times. That's one of his big movies. Okay, so not that to talk about the weird political scene in America is not worth talking about. It is. It's completely worth talking about. But I want you guys to think about things and then pull us back to the Warriors. We'll talk about weird shit like 4 unusual balloons, UFOs getting shot down, and Warriors.
And derailed trains.
Yeah. I gotta ask, Janet,
Mm-hmm.
we're about 2 hours into this. What's the movie you're gonna have me watch for next week?
Well, I was thinking about watching the next darn it.
The next Riddick film from 2013.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name of it.
It's okay.
I don't have it with me right this second.
Not the Chronicles of Riddick. It's just simply Riddick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Riddick, the last one. Because I don't know why. I just felt like we're watching some of these movies and we're not putting them together. But when you did The Raid and then you did The Raid 2, I thought, why not?
Okay.
These are 3 really good movies that I enjoyed. Why not do one after the other each, and go through them and talk about them?
I mean, there was a period in the summer and fall where I did nothing but 1994 films. Up until you ruined it with Bad Girls.
Oh, well, sorry. I still love that movie. I still like it. It's still one of my favorite movies. It's got horses in it. It's got romance. I mean, to me, it's just got a lot of good stuff and good fighting.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not my thing, but I mean, it's a film. It's not Ishtar.
Yeah, definitely.
When I assign that as our next movie, that's when like, okay, we're coming to a close.
Yeah, that's it. It's time to jump ship.
there was a movie.
But this was an excellent movie. See, it's all the little diamonds that we get to pull out, polish off, and enjoy. To me, that makes it worth it, and we got to work our way around because there's so many movies that we're not even thinking about right now that we did watch that were really, really good. So, each week that goes by, we're going to think of something better, that we haven't talked about yet.
The other thing about this movie is that the Warriors was on a very fast schedule to shoot and script because there was another movie coming out in '79 called The Wanderers with Ken Wall, Karen Allen, and John Friedrich. And when the Warriors got scripted, Paramount saw an immediate opportunity to capitalize on the urban youth movies and throw this out in front of it. And I'm going to be honest, I love Ken Wall, but I
I've not recognized this as a movie. I apparently have been missing something for a while, and it's got Karen Allen in it, which I think every guy in the '80s crushed on her, even when she was Indy's girl.
Yeah.
But everybody, what else? Do we have anything else to cover on the Warriors?
I don't know. I can't really think of anything. I thought it was a very well made movie. I thought the editing was great. The musical score with the awesome soundtracks I thought was excellent choices. The way that they added the music to the movie and integrated it into actually making you feel something while you were watching it. So I thought that was ingenious. I just thought it was overall very, very entertaining for men and women, because I'm a woman and I like the little slight bit of romance, but it wasn't so swishy and swashy that the guys are going, oh. So it didn't ruin it, didn't take away from the movie to me. I mean, it wasn't perfection, but in a way, that's what I love about the movie. It was in its rawness, it was very raw and gritty. And you got to see like what you talked about. What was that other movie that we watched, The Crow, where you got to see the underbelly of society, basically.
Yeah.
So it's another one of those movies to me like that. It just shows you a darker side of what people live every day. This is their daily life, getting up every day and being in a gang. But we don't see that because we're not in it. I don't even know a single person in my whole life that was in a gang. So I guess I've been untouched by that type of a lifestyle and worries about the parents whose child who is in a gang on a daily basis, not knowing whether or not their child would come home, and to be in a situation where you can't take your child out of it because where are you going to take them? Can't afford to get up and pack your bags and go to a nice house out in the country. So I don't know. To me, it's important that people see things like this, but it's also very entertaining. It's got a good story to tell. But it also opens your eyes, and maybe the next time you might look over your shoulder or look around and see what's out there and realize that there's people on the totally opposite spectrum than you, and not be mean to them or whatever. You can still smile at them and wave at them, and during the daytime. I wouldn't be out at night with them. But I don't know. I think it's good that people learn a little more about your environment that you're in, and who actually lives in this world with the rest of us. I just like this movie too. I really enjoyed it.
This was a very important film for the time. A lot of people didn't really notice it much, but once the rentals hit, everybody started getting a chance to share it, and it started being a big thing. In the Midwest, you'd go to your uncle's house and you'd watch this on his downstairs big TV, which was a 24-inch Magnavox, and that was like high living at the time, with a console, with a wood console television set.
Magnavox.
Yeah, I like that. Don't knock it. I miss my Magnavox. That was a solid TV. The other thing is Lynn Thigpen, God bless her, the lady that played the DJ. Some of you might recognize her if you used to play the old "Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego" games. She played the
I
chief.
used to play that.
She played the chief.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. That's a fun game.
I
really
played
liked
a lot of it. I never saw her on it because I played the Commodore 64 version or the ghetto computer version of it, which was on a 64K machine.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh God, Bruce, load quote, asterisk quote, comma 8, comma 1. Yep. Yeah. I just want to say that she, as much as I don't agree with her life choices, and we're gonna be a little political here, but I mean, she's from Joliet, Illinois. They made a elementary school named after her, and she never went into being a wife or mother. She's like, these aren't things I want to be known for, and she became a hell of an actress. And for that, I will give her my tip of the hat. You know, she did earn that. She's a hell of an actress, and she left a mark. A lot of people are only going to know her for her lips and for her, you know, queuing up the next badass song. But I'd like to say thank you.
And her voice.
Oh, her voice was just smooth.
Yeah.
Just smooth.
Sultry. Yeah, very sultry. She had a very sultry voice. Jazzy. Almost.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the more I think about this movie, like, okay, well, I can actually watch it again tonight on YouTube. I don't have to watch it on the high seas.
Yeah.
That's terrible, isn't it? But it is the world we live in. But I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. And for those of you that I didn't point anything out or didn't say anything, hi. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being part of our program. You guys, I mean, me and Janet, we could just sit in a room quiet with each other, just talking the whole time, and 12 hours all lips, it'll go by. The fact that you're here, you're enjoying it, that's great.
It's fun.
I'm happy you guys enjoy this.
So am I. I'm glad you asked me to join you. What was it, 42 streams ago?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've been having a blast ever since then.
It doesn't seem possible, does it? That we've done that many movies.
Okay, here's the bad thing, Janet.
Oh.
It feels like I've known you a lot longer. But just there's some parallels here. I'll just say that. But
okay.
I do remember the Carmen Sandiego television show. That wasn't bad. And,
I don't remember it.
It was a children's, it's aimed at kids. It wasn't bad. Everybody, good night. And go ahead, Janet, lead us on out.
Well, thank you for joining us, and I hope that you'll come back next week and join us again. You're welcome every Monday night. We'd love to have you hang out with us. Yeah, part 3. Riddick.
Not the animated film, the movies.
Yeah, the movie Riddick. I think it's going to be a fun evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Collapsing.